So today I'm going to talk to you about pattern cutting tools. As with any other craft, there's hundreds of tools that you can use, but you don't really need them all. So to start with, the most important one is, of course, the pattern cutting ruler. So I use this one, the Pattern Master one, but you don't have to use this one, you can use any one. You just have to make sure you've got this 90-degree line, you've got a long enough straight edge, and then 45-degree line, and then the most important thing are these lines here, which are 0.5 centimetre increment lines. These lines you'll use for putting your seam allowances on, your hem allowances, adding a little bit extra onto a pattern because you want it longer or shorter, and they're vital. They're so much easier than not having these lines and having to measure out 3 centimetres or 2 centimetres all the way around your pattern just to add your seam allowance. So this is a must. So the next tool is the propelling pencil. So I use this one that I've had since I was a teenager, and it's a 0.5mm propelling pencil, so that means it fits in 0.5mm leads, and it's perfect for using pattern cutting, because you'll find when you're using pattern cutting, if you're adding 2 or 3 millimeters just because your normal pencil is blunt, then these millimeters all add up and then they'll affect your pattern cutting later on, and your sleeve won't fit into your top, or something just won't quite match up right. And obviously to go with that propelling pencil, you will need leads. So I use HB ones, 0.5mm again, because they fit in my pencil, but you might have a 0.3mm pencil. I wouldn't advise any more than 0.5mm leads or pencil, because it'll just get too thick, and again, all these little measurements add up. I'd recommend using a HB or a H. Anything which is a B, 2B, 3B, or be too dark and it will just go down really quickly and you don't need that. So obviously to go with that, you need a rubber for when you're rubbing out mistake lines or working lines and you don't need them anymore. So again, you've probably already got one of those sitting around. And then the next thing is sellotape. So this sellotape, again, I bought a few rolls of them when I was at university, and this is a Scotch tape. The reason why Scotch tape is so good for pattern cutting, and you'll see it come up again and again, is because you can write on it. So as you can see here, I've got a piece of tape on my pattern cutting ruler, just as an example. I can scribble on it, and you can see it works fine, and I can go like this and it doesn't smudge. And the same with a pen, it'll work with a pen too. The reason why you need to be able to draw over it is because when you're joining two pieces of pattern paper together, or you have to cut up a pattern and then stick it back together in a slightly different arrangement to add in an extra dart or something, then you'll want to be able to draw over it and add your marks still. So having tape that you can draw over is essential. So once I finish this roll of tape, I'm actually going to swap to a sustainable tape, and I'm going to use a narrow brown tape. This is because I can still write on it, and it's also eco-friendly, so it seems perfect for pattern cutting. So then the next tool is tape measure, which you've probably already got again hanging around. This is one I've had for years and years and years. So this is perfect for when you're measuring yourself, because you'll need to measure yourself if you want to make patterns for yourself or for anyone else. You'll also need it when you're measuring longer distances and just working out how you want the pattern to be as well. This one I think is around 1 metre or 1.5 metres, and that's ideal. Maximum size I probably have is 2 metres. Please don't use a DIY one though, because they don't really work because they're so stiff. So then the next item you'll need is obviously pattern cutting paper. Quite a lightweight paper, so it's probably about 45-50 GSM, that's grams per square metre, and it's generally around 90 centimetres wide plus. So you need the width because obviously you're going to be designing clothes, and if you imagine how tall you are or how long you want to skirt, you kind of need that width to be able to span out across the paper. As with any of these tools I'm recommending today, please use what you've got. Don't feel like you have to go out and buy the latest version or the new eco-friendly version. Whatever you have is perfect, and using what you've got is the most eco-friendly thing you can do. If you do need new versions of it, then first of all have a look on our links that I've put below, which go to the most eco-friendly version. Unfortunately, there isn't an eco-friendly version of our Pattern Master. but this is something you'll have for a lifetime. And if you can buy one secondhand off eBay or off Etsy, then feel free to have a little look. I'm sure there's some out there that people have got hidden away that they don't really want. So have a little look what's out there. And then the last tool that I really like, and I would actually recommend, and it's one that I use, are the pattern notchers. Now these pattern notchers, they're basically like a little hole punch, and they cut out U-shapes which you can use to cut out your marks around the edge of your pattern pieces. That means that when you come to cutting the fabric, you can snip into them and you won't cut your pattern, you just cut in the little U-shape area that you've already punched out. You don't need to have these, and you can just do these with a pair of scissors. But the only thing with using scissors is obviously the V then creates the perfect line to be able to rip. So if you use these U-shaped notches, your patterns actually last longer, which is why I tend to use them. The other thing you could do to strengthen your pattern if you don't have the notches is put a little bit of brown tape over the edge and then cut out your V shape, and your paper should be stronger anyway if you use a little bit of sellotape. So the last tool, which is a must, are your paper scissors. And again, you probably already have these sitting around in the house somewhere. And please don't use your sewing scissors, because when you use sewing scissors, you're basically cutting through a very thin part of a tree when you're cutting through paper. So you're going to blunt your scissors really quickly, and then they won't be very good for your dressmaking. So if you can use separate sewing scissors and separate paper scissors, your scissors will last so much longer, and you can always sharpen them as they get blunter. Use the same knife sharpener that you'd use in the kitchen to sharpen your knives, and your scissors will last even longer. I hope you found this useful today, and if you do have any questions or comments, please just put a comment below, send me a message, follow me on Instagram and send me a message, or come over to my website and you can just send me an email if you just click on contact us, and I will get back to you, because I want your pattern cutting to be the best experience you can have and not be frustrating, and for you to be able to have someone you can ask questions to easily. As I mentioned earlier, please feel free to download our Intro to Pattern Cutting. It will be super handy as a reference guide for whenever you're pattern cutting, and it doesn't have to be just for beginners, it's for anyone. It's a resource for you and it's completely free. All you have to do is download it, use it on your tablet, use it on your laptop, use it on your computer, and you can even use it on your phone, and you can read it on the way to work if you want. I hope you found this helpful, and if there's anything else you want to know about pattern cutting tools, please don't be afraid to ask. If you want to watch more of my videos and see new up and coming videos, please subscribe to my list. As you'll see, the button is on the screen now. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.